Hi, welcome to the 20th episode of the New England Gal Knits podcast. I am Janet and I live in Massachusetts with my husband, our two boys, our cat, and our dog. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram at the New England Gal. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back, and if you're a new viewer, welcome to the podcast. I hope you enjoy it. We do also have a Ravelry group under the New England Gal Knits podcast. Go ahead and check that out. I'm also running my very first knit along. It is the Summertimetopkal. It runs until July 15th, and it is knitting or crocheting any type of summer top. So whether it's a tank top, a t-shirt, any short sleeve, summer, a garment is good. So go ahead and check that out. I also, on my last podcast, had shown the prize for the knit along. I'll also go ahead and post a picture at some point this week of the prize. So there's still a couple weeks left, and it doesn't take too long to knit up a summer top, except for the one I'm working on I seem to have put to the side, but I'll get into that later. So today is June 22nd. It's actually my kids' first day of summer vacation, and this is the first year I have to say I was looking forward to them getting onto summer vacation. They were the last 2 weeks starting to drive me nuts. They were itching to get school done and over with, so it's officially over and just the nice warm summer relaxing days ahead. So I do have a couple finished objects to share with you. I have to say it's going to be a sock parade today. The majority of my finished objects are both socks, as well as the majority of my works in progress. I do have an old whip I took out and started working on again, so I feel good about that, and I'm making progress on that again. So I'll start off with my finished objects. My first finished object both of my finished objects are a pair of shorty socks. Here are the first pair. So this is a knit out of Selene in her Jelly Bean colorway. And I love the way these striped up. Here's the second one. And here is what I have left. There is not a whole lot left. I had mentioned previously that I had already knit a full-size sock with this yarn, and this was just the leftover. It was the perfect amount for this pair. I did cuff down, and I had mentioned before I copied Tracy from the Grocery Girl a pair of shorties she was working on. So I did 5 rows of twisted ribbing, 5 rows of stockinette, put in my yarn for my afterthought heel, and then just basically knit down to the toe. They were simple and it flew. And these, I've tried them on and wore them for a little bit, and they don't slide down my heel. The other pair of shorty socks I had done a couple years ago has a heel flapping gusset. I find those slide off my feet, but the heel flapping gusset, I have a very narrow instep, so they're loose and baggy to begin with. These fit perfectly, so I will definitely be knitting up some more of these. So my second pair of finished shorty socks. It's Friday afternoon. My brain is fried. It's been a long week. But my second pair, here they are. So, and here is the other one. These are knit out of Tilting Planets 7525 base in her Beach Shop colorway. Love the way these knit up. I'm into, when you see my stash acquisitions, I'm into the bright summery colors, and this was just perfect. So here are the cakes. And I do have enough for another full pair of socks, which is perfect. For the heel, I use, this is Kate Selene. It was just the mini, and I don't think it had a colorway, but it is this bright fluorescent pink. I love this color. So these socks I took with me to Martha's Vineyard. And by the way, thank you everyone who liked or commented on my first vlog. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed videoing that and editing that. And it's nice to be able to have something that I can look back on. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, and it won't be my last one. But anyways, I took these with me, and I had started the toes. I had toes of both socks done before we left, but it was an hour-and-a-half ride to Woods Hole, where the ferry goes out of on Cape Cod. So I knit in the car, and the ferry ride was 45 minutes, and then we ended up taking the public transportation bus around. I had a ton of knitting time, yet we did so much too. It was just the perfect balance, but I had basically finished in that one day all the way up to the cuff. I had put in the scrap yarn. This was an afterthought heel, so I hadn't done the heel, I hadn't done the cuff, and then I had done half of the foot on the other sock. These just flew. So I did knit these toe up, put in for the afterthought heel, and then I did about 1.5 inch stockinette, and then 2x2 ribbing for 10 rows. I still have the ends to weave in, so I guess they're not quite finished, but close enough. I'm counting them. So for my works in progress, I'm going to start with the vanilla socks that I am working on. I haven't decided yet if these are going to be shorties or if I'm going to knit these into full-size socks. They don't know. They're going to grow up to be socks. They just don't know what kind of socks they're going to grow up to be yet. I am knitting these. Here we go. Here is the first one, and I am up to the point where if I'm going to do a shorty sock, I'm just going to put the cuff in on this. These are being knit out of a Woolen cat. Here's her label, and it's her Midnight Margarita's colorway. And here it is caked up. This is beautiful. I love the green is on spot for the color of margaritas, and as a margarita enthusiast, I know the color of a good margarita. And I love the plums in here, and then it also has red speckles with blue speckles as well. And I'm very pleased with the way these are knitting up. So I haven't decided yet if I want these full socks or shorties. So I've put this one aside, and not that I have that much done. Here's what I have done on the other one so far. So I'm just plugging away on these, and these are housed basically in my pocketbook and comes with me wherever I go, so I can go ahead and knit on those. So for my second sock that I am working on the Speckled Space socks. I finally started my second sock for this, and here's the first one that I had shown that I had finished in the last podcast, and I am halfway up the foot. I have been working on this all week. My youngest son Ryan and I have been binge watching Stranger Things. I had already seen both seasons. I love it. It's one of my favorite shows. I don't watch a whole lot of TV. Stranger Things, Game of Thrones, and Once Upon a Time's over now, but Once Upon a Time, those used to be my go-to shows. So now I'm on the look for a new show to start watching now that Once Upon a Time is gone, and I'm hoping they're going to do a season 3 of Stranger Things, but we just started the second season this week, so I have been working on these while we watch that. And these are being knit out of Artistic Lilly's, this is her 80/20 Superwash Merino nylon base, and this is in her Baby Light My Fire colorway. And here it is. And I love these. I love the material these are creating. I love doing the pattern, and like I said in my last podcast, now that I'm doing the 1x1 cabling without a needle, it's made all the difference in the world. I had mentioned when I was working on my Zweig that I was really finding the little X's tedious. Now that I know how to do this, I want to knit another one because I'm really, really enjoying the process now. But that is my last sock work in progress. And then, so I had been working on my Tenya by Caitlin Hunt. However, my thumb and my wrist had been bothering me lately, and there's some knitting four stitches together in that pattern, and there's only 3 rows spread out through the lace pattern. However, it was really bothering my hand the way I had to maneuver it. I'm a very tight knitter, so I ended up putting that down. I'm through 2.5 rows, and I only have 1.5 rows with that particular stitch left. So this is, my hand's starting to feel better, so I'm hoping to be able to pick that up again soon because I really am enjoying knitting it, and I love the lace work except for the rows that have that knit 4 together. And so I put that down, and I decided to pull out my Sunset Highway. I decided, because I was saying how it seemed to take, the body was taking forever of the sweater, so I ended up knitting the body down to when I finished up the first cake of this color, and then I decided to go ahead and cast on the sleeve. It's a little bit bunched up there, but I've had it shoved in my Fringe Supply Company bag. I love the colors. I'm so glad I pulled this out, and I just picked this back up 2 nights ago, and I'll probably work on this while watching Stranger Things later on tonight. But I'm so glad I've picked this up again. So I am knitting this out of, let's see here, this is the blue. This is Periwinkle Sheep in her Thunderstorm colorway. It's on her sport base, but I like the way it's coming out. I don't think it has messed up gauge at all. I fell in love with the color, and the store that I was in didn't have this color in a fingering weight. In a fingering weight base. So I picked up the sport, and I'm so glad I did because I love the color. So that's the blue. The top color work is done with Moonstone Dyeworks in her Crescent Moon color. The wine base is actually Knit Picks Stroll in the Cordial colorway. And then the body of the sweater is 100 Raven Yarns in the Jon Snow colorway. And I've talked about this before. Yes, I bought the yarn based on the name. Jon Snow is my favorite Game of Thrones character, so I had to buy it. It is pooling, but I've mentioned before, I like the way it pools. It almost gives it that tie-dye look, which I love, and it's not going to be on the sleeves. I'm okay with that. I love the way it's looking, and I ran it by my mom, who is my biggest fan and my biggest critic, but constructive criticism, and she loves it. So if it's mom approved, I'm just as happy with it. I'm glad I pulled this out, and I think once I have the sleeves done, I will go ahead and finish up the body. I think it's gonna fly now. I just felt like it took forever to get this far with the body. It felt like I would knit for 2 hours and I'd only get an inch in, and I was really struggling for a while. But I'm so happy I picked it up because I forgot how much I just love it. I am going to knit, I think I've mentioned before, I have abnormally long arms. My monkey arms. It was funny, we had a friend over the other day, and we live in a split entry, so the front door is down a few stairs, and then we have a half wall. And I had a friend who was standing in the doorway, and we were just chit-chatting, and I was at the top of the half wall, and I leaned over and I grabbed something from my husband who was standing next to him, and he goes, "How did you reach that?" To my husband, he's like, "It's her gorilla arms. She can reach abnormally long distances." So I plan on knitting, I was going to knit an extra inch in this color before starting up the second, but I don't think I'd like it being that long, so I think I'm just going to do an extra half an inch in the color, and then I'll do an extra inch in the gray when I come back to that, and then I'll just keep trying it on to try and decide how long to knit the ribbing. I think that's how I'm going to do it, because I typically have to add on an extra 2 inches at least into my sleeves for any pattern. So that's my plan. And this will, like I said, I think I'll work more on the sleeve when we watch Stranger Things tonight. That is it for all I've been working on for the last 2 weeks, and I do feel like I've accomplished quite a bit, even though the majority of it has been socks, which has been my obsession lately, especially the shorty socks. I think it's the summertime, and I like having the short socks with my Converse. I love the way those look, so I'm trying to pump those out. I do have quite a bit of stash acquisitions to share. With my love lately of the summer shorty socks, I realize my taste normally falls more towards muted colors rather than bright in-your-face colors, and I felt like I needed to fill in that gap in my stash. So I went a little bit overboard. The first thing I picked up, this is from Mitchell Creations, and this is her 75-25 base, and the colorway is Pixie Dust. And then I picked up the tag's falling off, but turquoise mini to go with this. And I love the pops of color. There's little black speckles in here, and I'm hoping that my camera's not going to blow this all out, but I love this fluorescent yellow in the purples. And this may be my next shorty socks I cast on after the Midnight Margarita socks. Then I picked up from Sheepy Fibers, etc. This is again her her 75-25 base, and this is in the mini raindrop color. And this knits up, if you go to her Etsy shop, and I'll link to this particular one because it'll show you it knit up. I love it. It's mostly turquoise with little pops of rainbow stitches. So I thought this would be a nice, fun summer sock. And then I realized I'm purchasing all these 100-gram skeins that I only plan on knitting shorty socks with, although I'll probably knit full-size socks with them as well. But I found this dark wave of fibers on Etsy, and she sells 50-gram skeins, which is the perfect amount for a shorty sock. I could get the heel in them as well in the 50 grams. However, I will probably end up doing contrasting heels just in case. I'm always afraid I'm going to run out of yarn. It's kind of like when you throw a party. I have so much food because I'm always afraid I'm going to run out of food. So I picked up her Sun Coast colorway, and I love these, and there's brown speckles in it, and I love this mint green, which turns into this beautiful turquoise, pale turquoise. And it starts off with this gorgeous gold and goes down to a beautiful pale yellow. Love the way this is dyed. And then I picked up Killer Bees. And again, I think I'm really just attracted to this purple that was in the Pixie Dust by Mitchell's Creation. But love this as well. So I picked up those. And then my last skein, I have been stalking Teeny Button Studios for quite a while. And I've put things in my cart on Etsy and taken them out. She posted on Instagram that she was having a sale. And like you do, you run over to Etsy and you purchase something. So I picked up the Burrow, which I love, and it's beautiful purples. I'm taking off her tag because purples and orange, and I love these brown tan tones through here. These are my colors. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this, but I will think of something. And that is, well, that is plenty. I just put an order through Tolt this morning, so I'll have something to share with my next podcast, but this is more than enough to keep me quite busy all summer with shorty socks. I have my work cut out for me. That is it for all of the knitting. As far as everything that I've been doing, so 2 weeks ago was my brother and my sister-in-law's baby shower, and I had knit the flax light for them, and I forgot to even mention it because I don't have it in front of me. I ended up knitting a matching pair of baby socks. I'll stick a photo in there of it. Anyways, they loved the sweater and the socks. The baby shower, it was so nice. It was laid back and relaxed. It was outside in somebody's backyard, and it was the perfect weather. It was overcast, so you didn't have that beating sun on you, but it was perfect and warm. It was a great time, and there were great people, really good red sangria. I should have grabbed that recipe. I might have to reach out for that. It was really good. Then last week we went to Martha's Vineyard. We left the house at 4:30 in the morning. However, with that being said, my husband works and commutes in Boston. It's a 45-minute commute with no traffic. There are times it can take 2 hours with traffic, so he leaves early anyways. I'm up at 4:30 in the morning on most days anyway, so it was not a huge sacrifice to get up that early. So we got up, we left the house at 4:30, we drove down to Woods Hole on the Cape Cod to catch the ferry. We caught the 7 o'clock ferry out. It was perfect weather. The sun was out all day. It was 75. There was no humidity. Couldn't ask for a better day. It was a perfect. We got there, we got breakfast sandwiches from the Black Dog Bakery, and then we ended up heading out to Gayhead's Lighthouse, as well as the red cliffs, clay cliffs that are there. It was beautiful. We took public transportation the whole time we were there. We'd used the bus system, and the bus drivers were so nice. They wanted to make sure they asked you where you were going. They made sure you ended up where you needed to be. It was great. And for someone who lived in New York City for a few years, public transportation can get very confusing in the subway and the bus systems down there, and the bus drivers really don't care if you get lost or not. So it was a very nice small town change of pace from what I'm used to with public transportation. But it was great. We went for a hike and we found a perfect picnic spot. We had brought peanut butter sandwiches and jerky and just cereal bars to eat for a snack because we were going to go out to dinner afterwards. Then we ended up walking around Edgartown and seeing the lighthouse. I have to say, because we walked about 10 miles, by the time we had hit the lighthouse, we had another mile to walk to the restaurant. And I was kind of done, and my poor husband was just like, just remember, how good is that margarita going to taste when we get to the restaurant, which kept me going. And then we ended up heading back to catch the ferry. We left, we came in and left at Vineyard Haven on Martha's Vineyard, and there was an ice cream shop right next to the ferry place, so we ended up getting ice cream before we headed home. And we were home by 9 o'clock, which it was a full day, but it wasn't bad at all. And I'm normally in bed at 8:30, so 9 o'clock was past my bedtime, but it wasn't that bad. And that was it. And Sunday we just kind of recouped from the day. This week, I can't believe it. On Sunday, I'm going to be a mother of a teenager. I don't know where the time went. So my oldest son Jacob's turning 13 on Sunday, so we are having his party tomorrow, and he wants Mexican food. So I'm making tacos and enchiladas. So as soon as this is done, my oven's preheated, if you heard that beep, but I'm going to cook the chicken for the enchilada filling, and I'm going to brown the hamburger for the tacos. I've actually poured myself a margarita. Cheers. To enjoy tonight. It's Friday night. I'm going to relax and unwind. I have been loving Stonewall Kitchen, which is a company out of Maine. They make a lot of jellies and jams and dips and condiments, but they've started doing margarita mixes. And they have a sangria mixer that I bought, but I haven't used yet. I may break that out tomorrow. I had completely, until I just said that, forgotten I even had it. Good thing I remembered. So that's what I'm drinking right now. And how amazing is this glass? So my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law go to Cancun once a year, although I don't think they went this year. My mother-in-law, I have 4 of them. She keeps bringing me back glasses, and I love these. And this has a sunflower on it. The other ones have purple flowers and fishes, and I think one has a banana, but the sunflower one's my favorite because my grandmother's favorite flower is a sunflower. So it just reminds me of her. So I am going to enjoy my margarita and make the taco meat and sit back and relax the rest of tonight and prepare for tomorrow. And then on Sunday, my boys have a piano recital. They both do piano lessons and love it. So they have a recital up at some gardens in West Boylston, and I can't remember the name of them. I'll take some video. It's beautiful up there, and the gardens are just gorgeous and well manicured. And I am not a gardener. My gardens are a little overgrown. I tend, especially with houseplants, I kill everything. I had done vegetable gardens the last 2 years, and we have a family of bunnies that really, really enjoy my vegetable garden. So I'm not doing a vegetable garden this year. I'm not feeding the rabbits. Anyways, so I'll take some video and hopefully share that on my next podcast, and that is about it. We have nothing going on next week, and Yeah, my oldest son will be leaving to go to camp, so he is doing 2 weeks at Boy Scout camp. So he's doing the first week of July and then the third week of July. And then the second week of July, my youngest son's doing Cub Scout camp for the week. So I'm gonna have almost a month where I'm gonna be a mother of a single child. I'm kind of looking forward to it. There'll be no fighting, no arguing. Maybe a little bit more peace and quiet, we'll see. But that is it. That's all that's going on. And if you're interested, I am going to stick in a small slideshow of just some photos from Martha's Vineyard at the end of this. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great 2 weeks ahead and happy knitting. Bye.